It is time for Cherrilynn Bisbano. She is standing by in our green room, and we are going to unwrap, discuss, and pontificate stress, seagulls, and swans on this specially recorded edition. So we'll count it down to Studio 8, starting now. Well, good evening. Welcome to this recorded edition of PJNet.tv, recorded just 1 hour ago. Or to be aired in 1 hour from now, as it's you get the idea. But Cherrilynn is still recovering, and she needs her rest. And the doctor has put her on a diet of screen time. So we got to make the best of this, Miss Cherrilynn.
Hi.
How are you, girl? We
Uh,
uh,
it is well with my soul.
it is your soul and your spirit are fine. The rest of you is the
The
wheels are falling
brain,
off,
the
right?
brain was yes, the brain was starting to do well, and then when we had to pack and move and unpack and learn a new job and do two book proposals and write two books, and in the meantime my son was switched from one program to another, and a lot of other things going on with my mom losing her memory. So my brain has not been the best, and I think I've been actually aggravating my husband because I'm not remembering things very well. So but I am happy and I love my new job. And if you can see, let me go this way, no, this way, over here I still have some books that have not been unpacked, but for the most part, we're unpacked. I'm learning the job and just enjoying the new residents that are coming in. And if people don't know what I'm doing, I am a missionary with Apartment Life, my husband and I. And what we do is we're a care team for the residents in the apartment facility and the staff. And what we do is we throw events, but these events are only part of our job. We, as a care team, try to establish community so that the people that hired us with Inspire Royal and other communities that hire us, Apartment Life, they see what we do and they don't care that we're a Christian organization, and they just let us do what we want to do. And it's great because we get to love on people. We get to be Jesus to everybody. Like Sir Francis of Assisi said, preach Christ, and preach Christ, then use words. And
Mm.
that's what we do. And it's beneficial for us because we get to share God with you know, people who live in apartment communities. 90% of them don't go to church, so they don't hear about the love of Christ. And the people that work here, a lot of them, Jesus is on their lips, but I don't know if he's in their hearts. So, being in the South, we're in the Bible Belt. Um, it's common that everybody says, I'm a Christian. But are they a Jesus follower? And that's what my husband and I try to determine, and as we love on people. But it's great. I love it. And I love the South. The people here are wonderful.
I'm
And
glad
I
you
don't mind the
changed.
hot weather either. I love the hot weather. Right now you may hear the thunderstorms. We're having major thunderstorms, which I love. I love watching the lightning. I love listening to the thunder. So, but if you didn't know what we're doing down here, we're missionaries with Apartment Life, and we're loving it. There's a lot more than just planning events. We do care visits to throughout the community and of our apartment, and we also are the liaison with the Matthews community and our apartment. So there's a lot of aspects to it, a lot of paperwork, but we actually love it.
Let me
So,
summarize
but I
that
miss
for
all my friends. I miss you. I miss JD. I miss Karen. I miss everybody on on PJ Net, but I just can't get on that late at night. And I know I mean, we could have just waited an hour and done this, but I'd rather just watch it and listen and chat with the people in the talk room. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, for our listening audience, I'm going to summarize what Cherrilynn just said. She is a missionary suffering for Jesus by throwing parties and fellowshipping. So, okay, I get it. Cherrilynn, I'm quite an expert, self-proclaimed, having studied psychology at the People's Republic of Florida State University. Stress, which is actually a misnomer. Distress is what we really want to avoid. Stress is a good thing, okay? But
Yes, we
distress
have a
is
lot
we
of good
don't want.
stress.
And there are
Yes.
three things that primarily always result in distress or high levels of stress. One is changing your job. The other is moving to a new location, and the other is changing your partner. Sherry Lynn, please don't get a divorce because
Oh,
you
no,
have
no, no,
already
no, no,
done
no, no. Never,
two
never.
of the
Hey,
three
if it
things.
hasn't happened by now, Mark, it will never happen.
Well,
Never.
but you have moved and you have started a new job. Those are high stressing events. Add to that the complications that you mentioned earlier. But stress is something that in moderation, in correct amounts, we should welcome.
Amen.
When you do a crossword puzzle, okay, that's stress. When you play golf, that's stress. A competition is designed to create stress, and it is rewarding. But too much,
Yes.
the definition of stress, by the way, is when demands exceed resources. That's pretty simple. But stress is a part of your life now. How are you coping?
My brain's not coping very well, but what I do is I stop. Like today I did a short Instagram reel about how stressed I've been. And what I did was I just went out and sat by the pool, closed my eyes and prayed and asked the Lord to help me. And it just was like the stress went away, my brain felt better, and I was able to go back and do what I needed to do. It's you get pulled in a lot of different directions here, a lot of different personalities. You have people who are demanding, you have people who maybe should be in a different type of atmosphere because they need a little more care than we can give them. I mean, well, we can give them the care, but then they'd be the only people we'd be giving care to. So, um, but I think God is helping me handle the stress.
Sherry Lynn, I am a typical testosterone poisoned type A male. Okay. And I am wound up tight as a banjo, but there are certain things that soothe my spirit, that reduce my stress, and one of them is rain. Yeah, I like the sound of rain or running water, not like a
Hmm.
creek in the mountains, not
Yes.
roaring, and not a but just the calming sound of running water. And the other one is geese. When I hear those Canadian honkers coming, I just almost whatever I'm doing, I just stop because you can hear them a mile away.
Well, we have, you know what? We have a goose family here, and they are precious, but they are so dirty and so filthy. And they just decide to go wherever they
Yeah,
want, all over the sidewalks,
if
over everything.
if they're
And
flying directly over, don't look up.
no, 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 no,
Well,
no.
I,
And
I was doing my best to segue that and tee it up for the seagulls.
oh well, no, actually, the geese actually match the swan better.
Oh well, can we go? Can we reverse the order? Can we go to swans and then follow up with seagulls?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
What is it
So
about swans that you take note
geese
of?
aren't supposed to like swans. Geese are, from my understanding, are afraid of swans. So what we did here, we with all those geese, the mother and father geese have four babies, and they're making a mess everywhere.
Hmm.
And so the staff was told get swans. Well, they didn't want to get real ones, so they got the decoys. the other day, we set them, we put the decoys together and we set them off in the water, and they looked real. And I said to my husband wasn't there. I said, honey, they got swans. He goes, real? I said, let's go look at the swans. He goes, they got swans? How did they get them here? Did they ship them? I said, well, yeah. And how'd they get them down to the water? I said, we just brought them down. Oh, and they just went in? I said, yeah.
Huh?
So he's so I'm like, let's go, let's go. So we're walking by the pond, and he's like, hi guys. He talks to animals. He's wonderful that way. And he's talking to the swans, and he's like, whoa, wait a minute. And I start laughing. I'm like, they're decoys. but get this, they look so real, but the geese know they're not real. So the geese are staying.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, if the geese leave, you can, if there's a swimming pool at the apartment complex, you can just put the decoys in the swimming pool. Maybe it'll scare out some of the undesirable people.
That's true. That's true. So I think we're going to get some goosebusters, not Ghostbusters, but goosebusters, and then we'll put the swans in the pool. But I guess these geese they're just making a mess. I like them, but they make a mess. But what I was thinking was, the whole thing. Now I'm going to segue into the seagull. I was thinking about truth after all of this, because you were talking about the truth of stress. The truth of stress is it could be good or it could be bad, stress or de-stress. And the truth of the swans were they were fake, but they looked real and they looked truthful. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing, now the seagull thing, there is a reason why I'm saying this. About 25 years ago, I heard a pastor talking about seagulls and how Christians should be more like sparrows and not seagulls, or something like that. Because seagulls were supposed to, if a seagull was sick, the other ones would peck it to death. That's what I heard. I've been trying to find that online, and I can't find it anywhere. Now, seagulls will eat other birds, and seagulls will pick at each other, but not if they're dying. I couldn't find that. So what's the truth in that? I'm still looking. So talking about truth, that's what I was going to talk about. I was going to say, are we as Christians, are we seagull Christians pecking at those who are down and out? Or are we like the sparrows who, if one falls out of formation, the other ones will take care of it? And that is such a good analogy. That's such a good topic. But then when I couldn't find anything about it, I said, you know what? I'm not gonna be on here and say this is truth when I really don't know. And so I'm sure you have things on the top of your head. You could say, we know there's a bunch of stuff that's going on in the world today that people are taking as truth, and they're not truth.
Well,
and people are pecking at each other because of the non-truths.
Well, first of all, in defense of seagulls, well, first in affirmation of geese, geese and migratory waterfowl, ducks do the same thing. Mm-hmm. When they're migrating, if one should fall ill, another one from that formation will remain with the fallen until it either recovers or dies, and then it will rejoin another formation who will. They have this social code.
Yes,
in defense. Let me defend the seagull. While you were telling that story, I went to that paragon of intellectual rigor, Google.com, to validate a story I had heard, and it turns out it was told by Paul Harvey about Eddie Rickenbacker, flying champion for our troops in World War II.
Yes, yes.
He had apparently been shot down and was in a lifeboat and was, well, starving, among other things. And he had fallen asleep. And upon awakening, he remained very still, captured and ate that seagull. And that seagull sustained him. And he told this story because in his retirement, he could be found at the beach feeding the seagulls. I mean, just every day at the same time, very disciplined. And people say, "Why do you feed these birds?" And he said, "That a seagull saved my life, and I'm just fed me one day, and I'm returning the favor." So apparently, that's more than urban legend. So
No, that's not, but seagulls and the way they treat each other and other birds.
I don't like the
Horrible.
sound they make. It's too screechy ear, and they start gathering up around you. And if you start feeding them, then more show up. So
Oh,
it doesn't
yes.
do
Oh,
any good.
yes. Yes.
But but a lot of kids enjoy feeding the seagulls and experiencing nature. And here in Florida, we depend on you suckers, I mean tourists, to come down to our beaches and enjoy the seagulls and but we don't have many Canadian geese here. I mean, they call them Canadian geese for a reason. Canada
Yeah,
geese.
yeah.
They're kind of a northern phenomenon. So, I'm checking the time. We got about 4 minutes.
Yes, truth. I wanted to talk about truth because, the story of Christians, Christians, we need to come alongside one another that's hurting and not peck at them. And also that's one side of the issues that I wanted to talk about. But truth, I'm finding, and I'm sure you're finding this too, that people and even Christians are not going to the source and getting the truth, and they're drawing a line in the sand on things that they haven't even studied. And it makes us look stupid, it makes us look uninformed, and it's not, and they're against other believers, and they haven't even gotten the truth of really what's going on.
Well, there's another truth in what you said that came to my mind. This may be news to you, but we have some decoy Christians. They they
Yes.
look they look like Christians. They're in church and everything, but they just don't have that real thing about them. They can be plucked out of the water and put in the attic, and you know what? They'll be just fine to put them back in the water later, but uh, they'll never accomplish the purpose for which God
Yeah.
designed us. He didn't
And
design us
that's
to
so
be a
sad.
decoy.
That's so sad. And we're not being judgmental. We're not being fruit inspectors. We're being truthful. And as believers, that's why we have to come alongside each other. And if someone says, "Hey, I'm a believer," talk to them, find out what they believe. I found, I'll just tell this story real quick. At Sam's Club, this guy delivered the stuff to the car, and I say, "God bless you," and he said, "Oh, God bless you too." I said, "Jesus loves you." He goes, "Yeah, I know." And I said, "Do you believe in Jesus?" He goes, "Well, that's why I moved south, because everybody has a religion down here." And I said, "Jesus isn't a religion; he's a relationship." And so he had all the verbiage,
Hmm.
and yeah, my heart is just burdened for Christians to know the truth, and to, not that I know everything, I don't, coach, but to know the truth. So when they see and know the truth, they'll see and understand the lies.
Amen.
They'll pick them out better.
Well, Sherry Lynn, we have picked a good one in you to have on our program tonight, and I know that God. I just don't think God's done with you. So would you please heal up and get better and
Hey, this weekend I'm not doing anything well, I'm going to be hanging out with my husband and just relaxing this weekend.
I get it. I get it. Cherrilynn, we love you, sister. And
Love you too. Bye
men,
everybody.
men, all right. Appreciate it. That was Cherrilynn Bisbano. She appears once a month here on pjnet.tv. And in just a few moments, we will have another guest coming our way at the bottom of the hour. And we got some updates to talk about. So while I'm getting ready, would you ask yourself these two questions as I often ask of myself? The first one goes like this. Ready? You don't even have to write this down. You can remember it. What is the boldest thing that you've ever done for Jesus Christ? Second question is, how long ago was that? And the challenge is to never be satisfied with either answer.